I want to tell you something that sounds simple, but changed everything about my life. One day, I opened my phone, looked at hundreds of names, and realized that I was surrounded by people yet starving for peace. So I made a quiet decision that no one applauded and no one warned me about. I deleted 90% of my contacts. Not because I hated anyone, not because I was angry, but because I was tired of being available to everyone except myself. And what happened after that shocked me. The silence that followed was louder than all the conversations I had been having for years. It exposed who was truly connected to my spirit and who was only connected to my convenience. That single act did not just clean my phone, it cleaned my mind, my heart, and my future. And today, I want to share with you what that silence taught me. Because if you are brave enough to listen, it might just change the way you see every relationship in your life. Letting go of people is not loneliness. It is leadership over your own life. Many of us have been taught to believe that the number of people around us defines our worth. We are encouraged to collect friends, contacts, and followers, as if human connection were a trophy we must keep adding to a shelf. But in truth, leadership begins when you have the courage to decide who truly belongs in your inner circle and who does not. A leader does not fear being alone for a season, because they understand that clarity is born in quiet and purpose is strengthened when distractions fall away. When you start releasing people who no longer align with your growth, it can feel uncomfortable at first. The phone becomes quieter, the invitations become fewer, and the noise you once mistook for companionship fades. But what remains is something far more valuable: space. Space to hear your own thoughts, space to understand your dreams, space to see where you are going without the fog of other people's expectations blocking your vision. This space is not empty, it is fertile. It is where new ideas, stronger confidence, and deeper self-respect begin to grow. True leadership is not about controlling others, it is about mastering yourself. When you hold on to relationships that drain you, you surrender that mastery. You begin to shape your life around other people's moods, needs, and limitations. Letting go is a declaration that your time, energy, and spirit matter. It is you saying, I will no longer invest in connections that pull me away from the person I am meant to become. That decision is not selfish, it is responsible. There will always be people who misunderstand your silence. They may call it arrogance, coldness, or abandonment. But what they often fail to see is the quiet discipline behind it. You are choosing not to be available for chaos, not to be pulled into conversations that lead nowhere, and not to be defined by the opinions of those who do not walk your path. Leadership requires this kind of boundary. Without boundaries, even the strongest soul becomes exhausted. When you step into this form of leadership, something powerful happens. You begin to attract different kinds of people, those who respect your time, honor your vision, and walk beside you instead of clinging to you. Your relationships become fewer, but they become deeper. Your conversations become quieter, but they become more meaningful. You are no longer surrounded by noise, you are supported by intention. Most importantly, you start to lead yourself with dignity. You wake up knowing why you are doing what you are doing. You no longer seek constant validation because you have learned to validate your own purpose. You move with calm confidence, not because everyone agrees with you, but because you agree with yourself. So remember this: loneliness is when you feel empty even in a crowd. Leadership is when you feel whole even when you stand alone. Letting go of people who no longer serve your growth is not a loss. It is the beginning of becoming who you were always meant to be. Most connections drain your future instead of building it. And this is one of the hardest truths to accept, because we are taught that every relationship is a blessing. But the reality is that not every person who enters your life comes to help you grow. Some come to borrow your energy, your time, and your attention without ever giving anything meaningful in return. They do not mean harm, yet they slowly pull you away from the life you are trying to build. Every day you wake up with a limited amount of focus, motivation, and emotional strength. Where you spend that energy decides what your future will look like. When you give it to people who gossip, complain, and live without direction, you start to think like them, feel like them, and eventually live like them. Their habits become your habits. Their fears become your fears. And without realizing it, you drift further away from your own potential. Some people only know how to talk about problems, not solutions. They are always in crisis, always in drama, always in need. If you stay too close to them, your life begins to revolve around fixing what they refuse to change. You become so busy rescuing others that you forget to build yourself. A future cannot be created in the middle of constant emotional emergencies. Then there are those who are comfortable where they are and afraid of where you are going. They may smile at your dreams, but deep inside, your growth makes them uncomfortable. So they distract you. Invite you to waste time. They normalize staying small, not because they hate you, but because your progress reminds them of what they are avoiding in their own lives. Strong connections push you forward, weak ones pull you backward, and the difference is not always obvious in the beginning. Weak connections often feel warm, familiar, and easy, but over time they leave you tired, unfocused, and confused. Strong connections may challenge you, question you, and sometimes make you uncomfortable, but they leave you clearer, stronger, and more determined. Your future needs relationships that stretch you, not shrink you. It needs people who speak truth, not just comfort. It needs voices that ask, "What are you building?" instead of "Why are you working so hard?" When your circle is filled with people who have no vision, your own vision begins to fade. Protecting your future means protecting what and who you allow to influence you. You do not owe unlimited access to everyone who knows your name. You owe your life to your purpose. That means choosing conversations that inspire you, environments that elevate you, and people who respect the direction you are moving in. The moment you become selective with your connections, your life begins to change. You have more time to think, more energy to create, and more peace to grow. You stop feeling guilty for wanting more because you are no longer surrounded by people who are afraid of it. Remember this, people who truly care about you will want to see you become everything you are capable of becoming. Anyone who consistently pulls you away from that future, no matter how close they are to you, is not a bridge. They are a weight, and you cannot rise while carrying what is determined to keep you grounded. Silence reveals who truly values you, because when the noise stops, only what is real remains. In a world that is always talking, posting, calling, and demanding attention, we often mistake constant interaction for genuine connection. We believe that because people are always around, they must care. But when you step back, when you stop reaching out first, when you become quiet, something honest begins to happen. The truth starts to speak. When you no longer initiate every conversation, you begin to see who feels your absence. Some people will not notice at all. Days will pass, then weeks, and your name will never cross their lips. Not because you were unimportant, but because you were never truly a priority. You were simply part of their routine, not part of their heart. And that realization, though painful, is powerful. Silence removes illusions. It strips away the comfort of convenience. It forces relationships to stand on something deeper than habit. Those who value you will reach for you, not because they need something, but because they feel something. They will check on you. They will wonder how you are doing. They will feel the space you left behind. That is not effort. That is connection. Many people only keep in touch when it benefits them. They call when they need support, advice, or a favor. They disappear when they have what they want. When you become silent, these patterns become clear. You no longer have to guess who is genuine. Their actions reveal it for you. Silence is not punishment. It is not revenge. It is a mirror. It shows people who they have been to you, and it shows you who they truly are. Some will realize they have taken you for granted and return with a new respect. Others will drift away quietly, because without your energy holding the relationship together, there is nothing left to keep it alive. And that is not something to mourn. It is something to honor. You are not meant to be held together by effort alone. You are meant to be held by mutual care. Real relationships do not collapse in silence. They become stronger. Only weak ones fade. When you embrace this silence, you stop begging for attention. You stop chasing responses. You stop proving your worth. You begin to see that you never needed to convince anyone to care. The right people already do. This is where self-respect is born. When you no longer fill the quiet with unnecessary words, you create room for the right voices to find you. You no longer accept half-hearted connections because you have learned the peace of being fully present with yourself. Silence teaches you that your presence is a gift, and those who truly value you will always feel its absence. Growth requires the courage to walk alone for a while, because every meaningful transformation begins in solitude. When you decide to change your life, you step into a place where few people can follow you, not because they don't care, but because they are not ready to change in the way you are. The path of growth is narrow, quiet, and often misunderstood, yet it is the only path that leads to becoming who you were meant to be. In the beginning, walking alone feels uncomfortable. You miss the familiar voices, the shared jokes, the comfort of being surrounded by people who know you. But those same voices are often the ones that kept you tied to who you used to be. They knew your past, your habits, your limits, and sometimes they expect you to stay there so they can remain comfortable too. When you outgrow that space, you must leave it, even if that means leaving people behind. Solitude is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the season where you learn to listen to yourself instead of everyone else. When no one is cheering, criticizing, or distracting you, you begin to hear your own truth more clearly. You discover what you really want, what you really fear, and what you are truly capable of. This is where confidence is built, not from applause, but from self-belief. Every person who has achieved something great has known this quiet. They have sat in rooms where no one understood their dreams. They have worked while others were sleeping, doubting, or giving up. They have chosen discipline over comfort and vision over approval. This is what it means to walk alone. To stay committed to your future, even when your present feels empty. There will be moments when you question yourself. You will wonder if you made a mistake by stepping away from familiar faces. You will feel the pull of old habits and old conversations. But remember, comfort is often the enemy of growth. If you stay where it is easy, you will never discover how strong you can become. Walking alone teaches you self-reliance. You stop waiting for permission. You stop needing validation. You learn how to stand on your own feet and trust your own decisions. And once you have that, no one can easily shake you, because your strength no longer depends on who is standing beside you. As you continue to grow, something beautiful happens. You begin to attract people who are on a similar path. People who respect your discipline, understand your vision, and support your evolution. These connections are not built on need, but on mutual purpose. They meet you not where you were, but where you are becoming. So do not fear the season of walking alone. It is not a sign that you are lost. It is a sign that you are rising. You are shedding what no longer fits and making space for what does. The road may be quiet now, but it is leading you somewhere powerful. And when you look back, you will realize that the courage to walk alone was the moment your true journey began. Protecting your peace is the foundation of success, because no great achievement can grow in a mind that is constantly at war with itself. We often believe success comes from working harder, pushing longer, and sacrificing more. But the truth is that nothing flourishes in chaos. When your thoughts are overwhelmed by stress, conflict, and emotional noise, even the strongest ambition begins to weaken. Peace is not laziness, peace is clarity, and clarity is power. Every distraction you allow into your life takes a small piece of your focus. Every unnecessary argument steals a portion of your energy. Every toxic connection leaves behind emotional residue that follows you into your work, your decisions, and your dreams. You may not see it happening, but slowly your attention is being pulled away from what truly matters. A scattered mind cannot build a strong future. Protecting your peace means being intentional about what you let into your inner world. It means choosing not to engage in drama that leads nowhere. It means walking away from conversations that drain you. It means setting boundaries, even when they make other people uncomfortable. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. A person who values their peace understands that not every battle deserves their energy. When you are at peace, your mind becomes sharper. You think more clearly. You make better decisions. You respond instead of reacting. This is where true confidence is born. You are no longer controlled by every opinion, every message, or every emotional wave that comes your way. You become steady, grounded, and focused on what you are building. Success requires long-term commitment. You cannot stay committed if you are constantly exhausted by emotional noise. That is why peace is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It allows you to show up every day with purpose instead of resentment. It keeps your vision strong when challenges arise. It gives you the strength to keep going when others quit. Many people chase success while allowing chaos to live freely in their lives. They say yes to everyone, carry everyone's problems, and stay connected to people who disturb their spirit. Then they wonder why they feel stuck, tired, and unfulfilled. You cannot build a meaningful life while your mind is always in survival mode. When you protect your peace, you send a powerful message to yourself: my dreams matter, my energy matters, my future matters. You stop explaining yourself to those who do not understand your boundaries. You stop shrinking to keep others comfortable. You begin to live with intention instead of pressure. As your peace grows, so does your power. You become more disciplined. You become more creative. You become more aligned with who you truly are, and from that alignment, success naturally begins to flow. So do not feel guilty for choosing calm over conflict, focus over frenzy, and self-respect over endless availability. Protecting your peace is not about pushing people away. It is about protecting the life you are working so hard to build. And when your mind is clear and your heart is steady, nothing can stop you from becoming everything you were meant to be.